Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm going to go my review of WWE's Saturday night's main event. Starting off tonight, we have Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee returns. He is on the commentary team for tonight's show. The first official match is Drew McIntyre taking on Sami Zayn. Thought it was a good match. Back and forth matchup between McIntyre and Zayn, with Zayn keeping the pace of the match. Zayn then hits a springboard moonsault to the outside, taking out McIntyre. McIntyre then gets up, sends Zayn over the announce table. McIntyre then hits a powerbomb on Zayn for a near fall. Zayn gets up, hits a sunset powerbomb for a near fall as well. Zayn then hits a Blue Thunder bomb on McIntyre, but McIntyre hits a Claymore kick on Zayn, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Drew McIntyre. Hats off to Drew McIntyre for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have a women's world title matchup. It is Liv Morgan defending the women's world title against Io Sky. I thought it was a good match, man. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Liv Morgan and Io Sky, with Io keeping the pace of the match. Io then hits an acai moonsault to the outside, taking out Liv Morgan. Morgan gets up, hits a code breaker on Io for a near fall. Morgan then hits a step-up enziguri, and then Morgan hits her signature Oblivion on Io Sky. Pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and still women's world champion, is Liv Morgan. After the match, Liv Morgan walks back up the ramp with Raquel and Dominic Mysterio, but she is greeted by none other than Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan get face-to-face, and Liv holds up the women's world title. So it looks like we will have a matchup possibly again between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for the women's world championship. Speaking of World Championships, that's our next match of the card. It's for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I thought it was a good match, man. Back and forth matchup between Gunther, Balor, and Priest. Priest hits a senton out of the ring. Could have been really bad how he landed. Could have knocked himself out, or could have been worse. Priest was keeping the pace of the match. Finn hits a Pele kick. Finn then hits a sling blade on Gunther and Priest in the middle of the ring. Gunther then applies a sleeper hold on Priest. Priest then hits a chokeslam on Gunther. Then he hits a razor's edge on Gunther as well. Finn then hits a coup de grace off the top rope. Priest then hits a chokeslam on Finn Balor. Gunther then hits a powerbomb on Priest on the steel steps. It looked absolutely brutal on the outside. But Gunther then hits a powerbomb on Finn in the middle of the ring. Pins for the 3. And your winner of the match, and still World Heavyweight Champion, is Gunther. Hats off to Gunther for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go to our next match of the night. It is the finals in the U.S. Women's Title Tournament. It is Michin taking on Chelsea Green. The match itself was a decent match, man. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Michin and Green, with Michin keeping the pace of the match. Green then hits a Rough Rider on Michin for a near fall. Michin then hits a senton off the apron, taking out Chelsea Green. But Green hits an unprettier on Michin, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and the winner and first ever U.S. Women's Champion, is Chelsea Green. Hats off to Chelsea Green for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's the main event of Saturday night's main event. It's for the Universal title. It is Kevin Owens taking on Cody Rhodes. Before the match even gets started, man, I know it was heavily speculated on. Everybody wanted to know what the hell was in that briefcase, the gift that Triple H had gifted to Cody Rhodes. And that gift that Triple H gave to Cody Rhodes was none other than the Winged Eagle WWF title that we haven't seen in so long. Triple H, it was a one-night deal, gave Cody Rhodes the Winged Eagle Championship. That belt was held by Yokozuna, Hogan, Bret Hart. It's a well-known title in WWE, and the belt looked absolutely great. The match itself was a good match, man. It was a grudge match between Owens and Rhodes, back-and-forth matchup. Rhodes was keeping the pace. Rhodes hits a power slam on Owens in the middle of the ring. Rhodes hits a disaster kick on Owens. Rhodes then hits an RKO out of nowhere on Kevin Owens. Rhodes then hits a Cody Cutter for a near fall. Owens then gets up, hits a Fisherman Buster off the top rope on Cody Rhodes for a near fall. Owens then sends Rhodes into the referee. Referee's taken out. Owens then hits a stunner for a near fall. Rhodes then goes for a cutter, but takes out another referee. Owens then goes for a chair, but Rhodes hits a Cody Cutter, and then Rhodes hits another crossroads on Kevin Owens. Pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and still Universal Champion, is Cody Rhodes. After the match, though, you can see that Kevin Owens, it was shown after the event went off the air, that Kevin Owens ended up hitting a pile driver, just like he did on Randy Orton on Cody Rhodes, and it looks like Cody Rhodes could have been injured. And there has been rumors that he might have to relinquish, possibly rumored, to relinquish the Universal title, which is a big, big deal. Looks like Kevin Owens is on, this mean streak that's taking out legends like Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. So we're going to figure out what's going to go on with Cody. Is Cody going to have to relinquish the Universal title? It looked like he did sustain some injuries from that pile driver that he received from Kevin Owens. But when Kevin Owens was leaving that ring after he hitting the pile driver on Rhodes, Owens was greeted by Triple H. Kevin Owens was holding up the Winged Eagle Championship. Triple H came out, met Kevin Owens on the stage. They had a pushing match back and forth, so it looks like Triple H was indeed pissed off with Kevin Owens. But a couple things I want to talk about, man, when it pertains to Saturday night's main event. Number one, I mentioned this on my SmackDown review. I'm a big fan of nostalgia. And to see WWE and what it is now, to bring back these old school events like Saturday night's main event. You had Jesse the Body Ventura there as well for this event on commentary, especially for the main event between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. It was great, man. You saw Coco Beware in the crowd. You saw Greg the Hammer Valentine in the crowd. You saw Tito Santana as well in the crowd, paying homage to some of these legends that were part of, the first ever, or some of the first ever Saturday night's main event events that they had back in the day. It was great, man. It was great to see, some of the legends. The setup alone was fantastic. The entrance, the stage structure for the entrance was absolutely awesome, paying homage to the old school WWF era, especially back in the day. I thought it was great, man. The theme song was great. The fact that it was in the Nassau Coliseum, it was fantastic, man. The fans were live. The fans were great in New York, and it was just great, man. The way that they had it set up with the stage structure, and then you had that long walk to the ring, kind of like how it was back in the day. It was just fantastic, man. I'm a big fan of nostalgia, and to see something like this, and to see WWE pull this off now, you see a lot of old school fans. There was a guy dressed like Randy Savage ringside, which I thought was absolutely awesome. It gives fans like myself and fans that have been watching the product for WWE for a long time now, kind of like, a trip down memory lane. You know what I mean? To see some of the legends and the fact that the WWE is bringing back some of these nostalgic events, it's absolutely fantastic, man. I think, in my honest opinion, WWE hit a home run bringing back Saturday night's main event. I know that they're going to have another Saturday night's main event happening, I think, in the middle to late January. I think that's taking place, I believe, in San Antonio, Texas. I think it's the 25th or 26th, if I'm not mistaken, going into the new year. So I'm excited for that too, man. I think this is something that's going to be a staple going forward for WWE. And they're going to have, once in a blue moon, they're going to have these Saturday night's main events taking place in the new calendar year. So I'm all for it, man. I think if they're going to be doing what they just did for this event moving forward, for these possible other Saturday night main events going into the new calendar year, I'm all for it. There was a lot of high-profile matches. There was world title matches. There was, Liv defending the women's world title. You had Gunther defending the world heavyweight title. You had Cody Rhodes defending the Universal title. It was a fantastic card from top to bottom, man, in my honest opinion. And the card was stacked. It was stacked from top to bottom. And the match quality was great. The match timing was great. It wasn't something where, you were watching these matches and you're like, man, this is going too long, or they're dragging this out. No, I thought it was fantastic. The quality of matches, the match placement was great too throughout the entire card. And it just goes to show you that you don't need 12 matches to put on a great event, man. And that's one thing I hate about other wrestling companies, and I'm not going to mention who, that have these special events or pay-per-views that go on for like 12 to like 13 matches. You don't need that, man. Just get to the bread and butter, what people want to see, and you're going to get fans that are going to be gravitated towards those events. People wanted to see Liv Morgan defend that belt against Io Sky. People wanted to see Gunther defend the World Heavyweight title against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Finn Balor has been a thorn in Gunther's side now for the past couple weeks. We got the World Heavyweight title match at Saturday night's main event. Then we see Cody Rhodes defending his title against Kevin Owens, with the hostility that both these guys have had since pretty much Bad Blood, when Kevin Owens was beating the hell out of Cody Rhodes backstage by his damn tour bus. And then we slowly get the slow burn, and then the build and the build and the build, and we get the final part of that build being the main event at Saturday night's main event with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. And it looks like there might be some unfinished business here between Owens and Rhodes, due to the fact that Owens once again hit a pile driver on Cody Rhodes, and it looks like Cody Rhodes might possibly be injured and might have to possibly relinquish the Universal title. So this week's SmackDown is going to be very interesting and very telling, depending on what the situation with Cody Rhodes is going to be, Is he going to be healthy enough to defend that belt? Is he going to have to relinquish the title due to the fact of what he, the pile driver that he sustained from Kevin Owens? What was going on and what was the back and forth banter there between Triple H and Kevin Owens? What was said between Hunter and Owens at Saturday Night's Main Event when the cameras went off air? Looks like Triple H, from what I've seen in videos that were surfaced online, looks like Triple H was pissed off with Kevin Owens. Obviously for what he did to Cody Rhodes with the pile driver. That pile driver also took out Randy Orton. So, obviously the storyline here between Owens and Rhodes is far from over. Now Triple H is getting involved. So, again, and this all could stem and lead up to, even though it's SmackDown, this could also be something that might, be a part of the January 6th Raw debut episode, and not only, and the reason why I'm saying that is because they're already having this, I'm not saying trade, but free agent kind of deal, if you will, with, talents from NXT on SmackDown and Raw and switching brands and stuff like that. So, and we've been seeing that for the past couple of weeks. We've been seeing Tiffany Stratton on Raw. We've been seeing, Dominic Mysterio in them on SmackDown. So, obviously talent has been floating around. Braun Strowman now is on SmackDown. He not debuted, but he returned. He faced off against Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown. So it looks like Braun Strowman now is a part of SmackDown. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts here the next few weeks, I believe, leading up to the new calendar year in January. Because like I said before, Raw's debut episode on Netflix is going to be absolutely incredible, man. With the names they got lined up, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showing up, John Cena is also going to be there. Becky Lynch is rumored to be there as well. We got Roman taking on Solo Sikoa, Tribal Chief versus Tribal Chief. So obviously they're coming out with a bang, if you will, for the debut episode of Raw being on Netflix January 6, 2025. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I will definitely have a review for you guys for that debut episode of Raw on Netflix. I'm definitely excited, and I know you guys are probably excited about that as well. But besides all that stuff, why we're here is a Saturday Night's Main Event, and my thoughts on it. To me, I think it's one of those events, and I'm glad that WWE is moving forward with keeping this event. Like I mentioned earlier, looks like they're going to have another Saturday Night's Main Event, I think January 25th, 26th, if I'm not mistaken, in San Antonio, Texas, which I'm all for that. I really am. And hopefully, maybe we'll have NXT also a part of the Saturday Night's Main Event. Who knows? But I think they hit a home run with this event and bringing it back and having the nostalgia. And, the venue was great, Nassau Coliseum in New York. The stage structure was great. The ramp, if you will, leading up to the ring was great. The ring ropes were old school. It was just great, man. I think this is something that, like I said, Triple H and WWE, they hit a home run with. And I'm happy they brought it back. And I'm happy that they're moving forward with it. And I think, honestly, for what it's worth, for both Raw and SmackDown, or just WWE as a whole, going into the new calendar year, 2025, man, it's going to be a very, very big year, I believe, for Raw and SmackDown and WWE in general. I really do. I think there's going to be shit that we haven't seen in a long, long time. They might bring back older events. Obviously, new superstars might be added to the brand. Obviously, Penta and Rey Fenix, that situation's been floating around. And it looks like they might also, sign with WWE. So there's going to be a lot of shit going on in 2025. And I'm all for it, man. I'm locked in. I'm locked in for the debut episode of Raw on Netflix, January 6th, 2025. And what's crazy is that, that's a couple weeks away, man. December is flying by. Christmas is next week. You know what I mean? So, December is flying by. And we're going to be right smack into the beginning of 2025. And I think when it pertains to WWE, man, they're starting off with a bang in 2025 with January, with Raw debuting on Netflix January 6th. And I'm all for it, man. I think, all in all, with Saturday Night's Main Event and the build-up towards the event, I thought it was great. The nostalgia was great. Seeing some of the legends, like I mentioned earlier, Coco Beware, Greg the Hammer Valentine was there. Tito Santana was also there as well. And I'm sure there were some other legends probably walking around backstage as well. I heard Ted DiBiase was also supposed to be there. He's probably backstage. It's great, man. And you go on YouTube and watch some of these old school clips of Saturday Night's Main Event that WWE's been putting on, man. It's great. You know what I mean? Seeing Hogan teaming up with Sid Vicious, taking on Ric Flair and Undertaker and stuff like that. It's awesome, man. I think it's something that I wish more companies did, if they had that nostalgia or was able to throw on a nostalgic event to pay homage to a certain company, whether it be WCW or WWE. I think it's fantastic, man. A lot of fans, at least fans that are, my age and old school fans of professional wrestling, we grew up with these events. Whether it was the old school Rumble, Saturday Night's Main Event, we grew up with these events. Starrcade, stuff like that. I grew up watching Starrcade. I grew up watching some of those old school WCW events and stuff like that. And I wish that, maybe AEW could bring that back. You know what I mean? Or get the likeness rights from WWE to maybe possibly put on those events. Or WWE could also, put those events on. They own the likeness rights, I think, for a lot of WCW stuff. So again, I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think it's, something that really did benefit WWE. Bringing this event back, and it got a lot of old school fans back into the swing of things, if you will, for professional wrestling, and it got them excited because, again, they grew up watching Saturday Night's Main Event, and the fact that WWE and what they are now brought back this synonymous event of professional wrestling into the new age and the new era. It brings back the nostalgia, and I think that's one of the biggest things that people hold on to sometimes is nostalgia, and I think it really does work. Definitely works, in my honest opinion, for professional wrestling. But with that being said, this is my review of WWE Saturday Night's Main Event. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.